Here's Florida, of course, and we can see in this image, we can see a lot of blue there in central Florida, and that blue obviously is water. And so there would be a great example of showcasing the fact there's a lot of surface water. Of course, at the southern tip of Florida, there's the Everglades, which is a swamp. And so throughout Florida, there's sinkholes and lakes and swamps, and so a lot of surface water. Before I go further, let me build on something we've talked about beforehand. So during the day at the beach, in the morning it's kind of calm, but then throughout the day an ocean breeze forms. So that's just simply because of that low pressure that develops over land like I've talked about beforehand. So we get this typical wind pattern during the day. So with that idea in mind, we can go back to Florida here where we have a lot of surface water, and we got the Gulf of Mexico on the left-hand side, the Atlantic Ocean on the right-hand side. And so what ends up happening is the surface is superheated throughout the afternoon. So what ends up happening is we get the process of evaporation and eventually condensation. So what helps to give that cloud, or what helps to get that warm, moist air to rise is what I talked about in the previous slide. So those ocean breezes coming in help to lift. Keep in mind those are cooler ocean breezes than the surface help to lift this warm, moist air mass. So that's very important to understanding this process. And so eventually it gets to the point where condensation becomes precipitation and falls back down as rain. So essentially one of the things we think about the surface of Florida is constantly rejuvenated by this same process. And so the moisture that falls during this daily afternoon thunderstorm is essentially the same moisture that the next day is going to be superheated. And so it kind of causes this cycle of daily afternoon thunderstorms like I've mentioned, which we can really see here in Florida. And so this is an image that shows a water vapor over Florida. And you can see the convection clouds pretty much all over the entire state, except for one part, and that's Lake Okeechobee. And so I ask you why.